Inflation, the unprecedented rise of mortgage rates, news about inventory increasing are just a few of the topics I'm going to share in this video and audio edition of a monthly series from the Martini Mortgage Group that we are calling What is Going On in November 2022. Before I start mixing up this cocktail, I need to make those legal folks happy. So let me share. The primary purpose of this podcast series is to inform, entertain, and educate. The information, opinions, and recommendations presented in this podcast series, it does not constitute legal or other professional advice, opinions, or endorsements of any kind. Welcome to the Martini Mortgage Podcast, episode 166. What is going on in November 2022? My name is Kevin Martini, and I am a certified mortgage advisor and producing branch manager, NMLS 143962, with the Martini Mortgage Group at Gold Star Mortgage Financial Group Corporation, NMLS 3446, equal housing lender. Thank you for tuning in, and let me start this episode with a quote that my folks always used to say. There's never a substitute for education. And every time they said it, my eyes rolled. This sentiment is very true for one who owns a home today or for one that is thinking of buying a home today. It is sad, but it's true that many people make their decision on buying a home based on the headlines only. And the challenge is the headlines of today are littered with uncertainty and are creating false uncertainty. Now, with an open heart, right now is a real estate opportunity unlike anything I have ever experienced in my professional career. If homeownership is right for you and your family, right now is an epic time to either buy your first home or to upgrade your address. Okay, that is my rant. And with that said, let me talk about inflation. Inflation is easing based on the most recent data released. However, it's still at levels not seen for decades. It is my opinion, even with this glimpse of good news with the consumer price index, inflation still remains high, and the Fed will not pause, but continue to tighten their belt. In other words, I still believe we are on track for a three-quarter rise in their benchmark rate at their December 14th meeting. And then it is highly likely a slower pace or even a Fed pause in the first quarter of 2023. If you are a long-time listener to the Martini Mortgage Podcast, you know that my favorite metric to predict when inflation will peak is not the CPI, but the core CPI. With core CPI, the very volatile food and energy is not included in the reading. Now, with that explained, let me highlight that CPI or core CPI numbers for that matter is based on the same month from a year ago. Now, at the time of this recording, the CPI is showing 7.7% annual gain. However, core CPI is currently at 6.3% year over year. The November 2022 CPI report will be released on December 13th, and its number will be replacing the November 2021 core CPI number, which was 0.5%. It is likely that the November 22 will be the same or less than this reading, and if so, the Fed's actions are working. Here is the hashtag Kevin Martini Live nugget. If you look at core CPI from November and December 2021 and for January and February 2022, The reading levels are high. So the year over year numbers will be compared to the higher numbers, meaning it is likely that inflation fever may be breaking. Remember, mortgage rates live in the bond market, and the arch enemy to a bond is inflation. When inflation eases, home loan rates will improve. This is just not an opinion. This is a fact. On the topic of mortgage rates, at the time of this recording, mortgage rates have experienced the largest year-to-date increase in rates in over a half of a century. It's insane that a home rate started with a 3 at the beginning of 2022, and now it starts basically with the 7. I do believe there will remain pressure on mortgage rates for the balance of the year. And I also believe the speedy pace of mortgage rate increases are in the rearview mirror. With that said, there's no way to spin it. Higher mortgage rates and higher home prices is putting pressure on home affordability. Now, rates will go down. It's not a question of if, it is a question of when. Now, you know what is predicted to keep going up? Home prices, year over year, are projected to continue to increase. Let me share another hashtag Kevin Martini Live nugget with you. It is very possible that some markets may experience a negligible month-over-month decline, but annual home prices will be up. This is why buying a home today is an opportunity. As a buyer, sure, we are still technically in a seller's market, but we're in a seller's market with options, and most sellers are willing to roll up their sleeves and help a buyer. By the way, this is not just theory. Myself and fellow mortgage strategist Logan Martini see it every day as we help families we serve deploy this seller paid buy down strategy. With a seller paid buy down, a buyer's interest rate payment is reduced for the few first years of home ownership. This provides payment air support today, and home buyers catch the appreciation opportunity. It is critical to know. Let me say it again. It is critical to know. The home loan can be refinanced when rates move lower. Now, when will that be? I believe best case at the end of 2023, but most likely in the beginning of 2024. According to the Mortgage Bankers Association, in 2024, they are forecasting that a 30-year fixed mortgage rate will be at 4.5%. Now, let me state the obvious. You could wait to buy until the rate is at the lower level, but should you? I do not know. I do not know your situation, and I do not know if homeownership is right for you and your family, but I do know this. Right now is the time to get educated on your options. And it is never too early to have a conversation with the Martini Mortgage Group to talk through your options to determine if right now is the right time. And let me just make this clear. The right time to buy a home is when you're ready to buy a home. When you think about it, we all need to have a roof over our head when we put our head on a pillow every night to go to sleep. I help the families that own that roof because the alternative is renting that roof. Now, listen, there's nothing wrong with renting, and there is a time to rent, but it's my opinion that time is not right now. Connect with myself or fellow mortgage strategist Logan Martini by dialing 919-238-4934. You will find that neither of us have commission breath, but we both have a fiduciary approach to help you understand what your options are. Again, our number is 919-238-4934. Now let's talk about the inventory of homes for sale. Here is what I'm hearing and what you are likely hearing too. Inventory is up, and that is technically correct, but it's not true. What? How can something be true but false? It's simple. What are you comparing inventory levels to? Friends, we had a pandemic that created a frenzy, and it created a once-in-a-generation surge in home prices. During the pandemic, inventories of homes for sale was anemic. If you compare the inventory to a once-in-a-lifetime event where inventory was at a crisis low level, then sure, inventory is up. However, if you compare inventory today to a normal non-pandemic market, then the current inventory level is down. It is not a myth. In the US, there is an inventory shortage. The shortage will likely take a decade to balance out. It is not just, it is just basic economics. Low supply with high demand causes home prices to increase. And I think that is why the benchmark home price expectation survey done by Pulsenomics is the bellwether. And it's predicting basically from August 2022 to December 2026. Oh, by the way, that's the most recent report. That basically a 25% cumulative increase in home values. What? Some more facts that I'm not sharing? Well, here, let me just tell you this. Let me share some more facts that are creating some fake news about inventory. If you compare inventory at the end of the week for October 28, 2022. Oh, by the way, this is the most recent data I had at the time of this recording. So if you compare this week to the same week in 2021, inventory is up 39.5%. This is comparing a pandemic environment to a non-pandemic real estate environment. You can never compare a tomato to an orange, or tomato, if you prefer, to an orange. Oh, by the way, yes, I think a tomato is a fruit. Sure, they are both fruits, but they are two different kinds of fruits. If you compare the same week in 2022 to a normal real estate market, and the last normal real estate market was 2019, and in 2019, the real estate market, you will find, if you compared this week to that same week, inventory is actually down 37.2%. I know that this is a lot, and I know that you might have some questions. Know that I'm available to unpack everything I just shared in more detail. And in addition, I am available to help have a conversation with you about your situation, which will be 100% confidential. My name is Kevin Martini, and I am a certified mortgage advisor, and I help the families I work with create not just wealth, but generational wealth with the proper mortgage strategy. I invite you to give me a call. My number is 919-238-4934. Oh, by the way, our website has fresh and real information about securing the proper mortgage strategy, along with relevant information one needs to know if they're thinking about buying a home in this current environment. Check out it by going to www.martinimortgagegroup.com. Thank you for tuning in to this new episode of the Martini Mortgage Podcast called What is Going On November 2022 edition. And thank you in advance for sharing this episode with somebody that you care about. Wishing you peace and blessings.